Hello, I'm Chanel, this is Spirited Stardust, and today we are looking at some of my Oracle decks and bags. So I will have to spread this across multiple videos because my collection is Oracle heavy. So we'll start with this one here. So this is one of the very first bags I ever made. I think it is literally the first bag. I love the yarn color though, it's one of my favorite yarn colors. And in it, I have the messages from the Heart Divine. So I have a love-hate relationship with this particular deck because of the cardstock. I don't like the cardstock. So the cards are also super big and it's got like a chalky texture to it. But the deck itself I love. So the artwork I think is really beautiful. I'm also not a fan of the Roman numerals. That's another peeve. But yeah, I love the themes in this deck. The write-ups are beautiful. It's a very nurturing kind of feminine energy deck to me. Yeah, I absolutely adore it. It's just, it's got some sensory issues for me, but I'm thinking about scanning the pictures and just reprinting them myself so that I will want to pull it out more because it gets underutilized just because I just don't like the way it feels. But this was the messages from the Heart Divine. Okay, so this is the next bag. So I'll bring it up close so you can see the beautiful pressed flowers that are in the button. So I'll take out the deck. This deck is the Woodland Wardens. So I got a pretty good match with this one. I edged mine in a brown and I cut mine down, so I trimmed the side borders off to make it a little bit smaller. I love the art style in this. I don't normally go for mini animal decks. I'm not an animal deck girly unless it's a cat specific deck, but this one appealed to me. I like the pairings of the animals with the plants and then the keyword that went with them. So this is a mass market deck, and it is the Woodland Wardens. Okay, so here is the next one. That is the bag. Let's see what's inside. I know what's inside. Somehow I just remember what's in every bag. I know some people have troubles, but I don't have troubles doing that. So we've got the Southern Gothic Oracle. So I edged mine in a similar blue to the backs of the cards. This is an indie deck. Its theme is the South in America, and it was a deck that I put off getting for some reason. I was just like, well, I don't have, Southern heritage, so maybe, I won't resonate with it, which is silly because just because a deck has a culture that isn't your own doesn't mean that you can't use it and you can't benefit from using it or connect to it. So that's something I'm not even going to let stop me in the future because yeah, this deck, I love it and it's beautiful quality. And I ended up buying another deck from the same creator because I just fell in love with this one so much. So just shooting myself for not jumping on it sooner, for taking so darn long to pull the trigger on it. But yeah, it was a blast. Okay, so this is this bag and this button. And in here, so I forgot to actually crochet a buttonhole for this one, so I just jammed it in. And this is the Hidden Cosmos Oracle. So this is a bit of a weird one. So these are the backs. I did not edge this. This is a super mini deck, as in size and in the number of cards. It's very tiny. So these cards have different fermented kind of recipes on them. In the guidebook, you have recipes for every card in this deck. And at first I thought, oh, I'm not going to keep this. This was a mistake because it's also got the Roman numerals, which I love. But then it ended up being a really great finisher for my readings. I would just put it on top and for some reason it hit. So I didn't want to like it. I really wanted just to pass it on because I was like annoyed at myself for spending so much on a deck that is so tiny and little. But then I loved it. So it is staying. Okay, so here is the next little bag with the button. This is such a fuzzy yarn. It was a bit of a pain to work with. I wouldn't choose this yarn again to work with it, but it's so cush. It's so cozy. And in here I have City of Dreams Oracle. So this is an indie deck. You can see it's holographic. It's got a smaller amount of cards than I love, but it's on a lovely, I think it's linen, isn't it? Yep, linen cardstock. It's got a color palette of a lot of pinks, blues, and purples, and it's about New York City. And yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to try it out, and I've enjoyed it. I don't love this particular art style, but I like to have different things in my collections. I don't like to have just all of the same, you know. And it's a very fun kind of deck. It's got a more like spring, early summer kind of energy to it, and you know, I did enjoy using it. This is the next bag here with the, excuse my stomach, I'm digesting a giant bowl of Earl Grey oats with cinnamon spice pears, because even though we're in spring, it feels like winter today. This is a Death Doula Oracle. These are the backs. This is an indie deck. I have walkthroughs for every deck. If I don't, it's because it's scheduled. You know, it's on its way. It hasn't yet been published. So by the time I finish all these videos, I'm sure all of the walkthroughs will be up. But this was one that I actually ended up putting in my purgatory bin for a little bit because I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep it. I couldn't figure out how to use it. And then I ended up using it as sort of like a self-care deck. But, you know, how can I take care of myself today? That's what really worked for me with it, rather than using it as an divinatory kind of oracle. And I had it in my like little weekly box that I just used at the start of every week. And I really enjoyed it and then bonded with it. And now I love it. I do enjoy the photography. I like the gold frame on the front. I love the keywords, the themes, the subject matters in this. I think they're super cool. The guidebook is fantastic. It's got a lot of practices and rituals that are associated with each of the cards that you can do. Yeah, and I adore it. So I'm so happy that I kept it and spent some more time with it, because I would have been kicking myself if I had given this deck away. But I also find it goes with a lot of my decks as well. But I really do love this one. Okay, so now we've got the next deck, which came in its own bag, and I just left it in its own bag. And this is the Enchanted Art Oracle. So those are the backs. I've edged it in the same kind of minty, bluey green, turquoise, robin's egg blue, I don't know what you want to call it, same color. This is one of my very few sort of affirmation only decks. I don't generally tend to like those at all, but I do like the sayings in this. I like the artwork, even though it's not super consistent. It can be quite varied, and some I love more than others. But I also find this is a deck that just goes with a hell of a lot of decks, and it always just seems to choose the right kind of saying, positive, you know, phrase that matches the spread perfectly. So it was just one of those decks. Yeah, again, I thought, oh, I'm not going to keep this. And then after using it, I'm like, okay, yep, you've earned your place, because you just hit. And if you hit, you stay in. So this is the Enchanted Art Oracle, which is an indie deck. This is the next bag with the little flower button there. And I will open it up. The flower buttons can be a little bit spiky. I'll take out the deck. So in this bag, I have my Nest of Light Oracles. So this is half English, half French. These are the backs. I have edged mine in a pale blue to kind of suit the deck. It's got a beautiful matte linen cardstock. My favorite kind of cardstock is matte linens, but I find not many decks have them. I love the art style in this. I just really do. I wish this artist would pair with more deck creators to illustrate more decks. I just adore the style for some reason. This is a very interesting deck. It's got its own unique system. I don't always read the guidebook for this one. Sometimes I just go based on vibes, like what's the energy I'm getting, my intuition in terms of the card. That's how I tend to use it. But I don't know, I just really like it. It's just such a blend of the mundane and the magical. It's got both in the one deck, and it just makes me happy just looking at it. It's one of those ones where even if it wasn't usable, I would keep it just for the prettiness alone, because I just like it. And there's a card in here that is one of my favorite cards. It's the lady sniffing the lavender, and I don't know why, but it just brings me back to the time when I was in France with my ex-husband, and we were in this little village called, I think it was Roussillon. And it had like all of these ochre kind of walls, and it had lavender everything. And I bought a lavender ice cream, and we were just walking through these very cobblestoney here. Here's the picture. cobblestone streets, and it was a beautiful sunny day and there was a breeze, and it's so evocative. So it just brings me back to that moment in time. Okay, so next up we've got this bag. It's sparkly, it's red, it's got some dream catchers on it. This one I purchased, I did not make this bag. And in it I have my fairy magic message cards. I never remember the name of this one. It's by Sharon McLeod. So on the back you've got the picture with the title of the card, and then you've got about the card. You've got a few key points and then a little affirmation at the bottom. And it's just super adorable. It's very whimsical. It's very childlike to me. It reminds me of my little like tea parties that I would do for me and my imaginary fairy friends. And so it's super nostalgic in that way. And there's a lot of cards, which I love. And it's very easy peasy. You pull a card, then you flip it over for the message. So yeah, this is an adorable, sweet little fae deck that I love. That is part of my collection. I believe this one is mass market as well. Okay, next up in this mugler, oh my gosh, bag, which I got with my perfume. I've got this deck because I just didn't want to crochet a bag for this chunky, thick, black square deck. This is the BuzzFeed Oracle cards because, yeah, all the backs are different. Like, this is just a very awkward thing to try and knit a bag for, so I thought, nah, I'm just going to chuck it in a bag. Depending on the theme, so there's like 4 different themes. You've got environment and nostalgia, animals, and I think colors. It's in primary colors too, which is normally absolutely not my jam whatsoever, but I do enjoy this deck. I love the topics that they've picked, especially for nostalgia, because that's just, it literally is nostalgic. It's like, bring me back to them 80s and 90s boo. I normally pull multiple cards when using this deck, and I string them all together. It's almost like a Lenormand to me. It has keywords in the guidebook, obviously, but sometimes you might have your own associations with what feeling that sort of provokes in you. So I do use this one intuitively as well. But yeah, I tend to pull minimum 2, but generally I like to pull 4. I don't know why, but this one I pull 4, and I sort of use it as the, you know, final reading of the final stamp on the reading, I guess. I especially used to like to do it whenever I was going on a date with someone. I'd be like, tell me about them. And I would pull 4 cards and see what the vibe was. What are they like, you know? So that is the BuzzFeed Oracle cards. So here is the next bag with the sprinkles. I apologize if the lighting is just absolute trash today. It is very gloomy day. So here in this one, we've got the Wild Child Oracle. So the original version of this has come in this oblong shape, which I actually really like. I don't love the dark gray matte edging. I'm like, what? Why? But I do like the shape. I think it's just regular rectangle now. And it is a rose petal finish, which I know not many people like, or soft touch matte, which I think is now being called. I think rose petal's been grandfathered as a term. But I love this deck. It's sweet, but it's actually not sweet. Like, the imagery is, but the messages, not all the time. I can tell with the guidebook, the messages are written up sort of as a poem. It feels like it's been translated into English, because sometimes there's like a bit of a error in grammar, so to speak, but it's, I don't know, it hits for me. So I do really, really, really enjoy it. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, sometimes, yeah, it's not so sunshine and rainbows, this one. It can be like, oh, okay, I hear you. But yeah, this also is heavily on the animals, but I don't mind it. I love it. I just really like the vibes. And this is almost a fae-like energy to this deck as well. You know, there's a bit of, like I said, a bit of that darkness in here too, but I really bloody enjoy it. And I kept the box. I don't normally keep boxes, but I did keep it because it was so pretty. I didn't want to throw it away. I'm like, maybe I'll store like excess buttons in it or something. I haven't found a use for it yet. But I keep thinking to myself, oh, one day you will, and you'll be glad that you kept this little sweet box. But yeah, this is the Wild Child Oracle, and this is an indie deck. I believe it's actually on Kickstarter right now, along with its accompanying tarot. So yeah. Okay, so here is the next bag, and I've got some little angel rose wings on it. So this was before I knew how to crochet. I obviously was purchasing bags, and then I learned how to crochet. Purchasing bags, so much cheaper, by the way, than me making my own because of the price of yarn. Here is the books. This is Star Codes, Astro Oracle, and these are the backs. I edged mine in like, I don't even know what color you call that, like a very silvery copper kind of, I guess. So this is probably, I think, the only Astro only deck that I have still in my collection. I had a few astrology decks, but I just felt like the others were superfluous. I just only needed one, you know, because I didn't really particularly love them either. So I thought, I'll just keep my favorite one. And when I need to use a deck for that kind of purpose, I've got it. So this is the one I kept. I don't know. It was very different to anything else I have in my collection artistically. So I wanted to keep it, and it has a good amount of cards. So it's got meanings for a lot of the astrological associations, which I appreciate. You know, it was quite substantial. The guidebook's well written. And yeah, this was the winner of the Astro deck Hunger Games for me. This one came out on top. But yeah, there's some of these cards are just stunning. I especially love like the more colorful ones. I think they are beautiful. But this is a Star Codes, Astro Oracle, and this is a mass market deck. Okay, so here is the next bag with the button. And we'll open up. I do love the colors in this one. So with this one, I didn't match it to the backs because I just didn't have that green. It's the Southern Botanic Oracle. So by the same creator as a Southern Gothic. I edged my deck in a green, and I matched this bag to this card. I just pulled a card out of here and I thought, all right, I've got a yarn for this one. So this is my sugar maple bag pretty much. But yeah, I bought this straight after using the Southern Gothic because it also is a plant deck, and that is the kind of deck that I have the most of in my collection. I love this card. Is that not, oh my God, I just want to eat them strawberries. Absolutely love strawberries. I really do, and I love seeing them. I like the way they look, especially in the wild. I have little wild alpine strawberries all over my yard. Everywhere I can plant them, I do, because they are the bloody best strawberries. They are tiny, but they just contain the essence of a strawberry. Like, it's just everything you wish a strawberry could be in that little tiny morsel of a bite. That's what it is. So my kids and I go nuts for them when they're in season. We just pick. And the birds seem to leave them alone. The caterpillars do not. So we have to watch out for those. But yeah, unlike the big strawberries, which I also grow in my yard, almost all of them get eaten by birds. So, but the alpines, we get the, majority of, so which is fantastic. But yeah, this is another great deck. This one is Indie. Okay, here is my next bag, and it's a little honeycomb bag because I thought it matched perfectly with the backs of these cards. And this is the When My Soul Whispered Oracle deck. So this already comes in gold. I think this was originally an indie deck and it's mass market. So this is my mass market version of it. And this just packs a punch. I love the guidebook. It is very well done. I love all of the different subsections that are with each card. I think they're fantastic. It's a very calming deck because of the white space, but I love the keywords in it and the soft watercolor imagery. It's also a deck that just goes with a lot of the decks that I have. You have those ones that you're like, that don't fail you, oh, I can't find a match. One of these ones will definitely match it, So this is a fantastic little reader, and it was quite well done. So this is the When My Soul Whispered Oracle deck, which I believe is now mass market. Okay, so here is the next bag and the button. As my bags go on, until I use up all my buttons, the buttons are probably not going to be the best matches, but I just need to use them up. So this comes with a little booklet. This is a Flower Medicine Oracle deck. These are the backs, and it's got that shiny gold gilding, and the cardstock is a matte. It's got some spreads there, and then it's got some meanings of the colors as well. And this was just like such a surprise. This was on my Etsy, heart list for so long, but I was like, I don't know. And then I just decided to bite the bullet, and I'm so happy I did. I really love it. I think it's fantastic. I love the flowers that were used and the energies that have been associated to them. Yes, the guidebook is not huge, but it does the job. You know, it's enough. And I really love the artwork. I think the artwork is beautiful. And I just really enjoyed reading with this when I got it. I just wanted to do reading after reading after reading. You know, I didn't want to put it away. I wanted to continue to use it and pull cards from it. And it is stunning. It's got such a spring-like energy and it's so uplifting. And I'm so glad I finally bit the bullet. It's so hard with Etsy ones, especially if there's not walkthroughs on YouTube. It's like, oh, you're taking a big risk because you don't know what they're going to be like. And for me, because I live in Australia, almost all Etsy listings, the shipping is the same price as the deck. So it's almost like you're buying 2 decks, you know, so it's an investment. But this one is one that absolutely paid off because I really, really adore it. And this is the Flower Medicine Oracle deck. Okay, next up, we've got this little bag. It came in this bag. I kept it in this bag. I really should make this one an actual bag. I really should. I probably will, but eventually. This is the Whispers of the Soul Oracle. These are the beautiful backs. I edged mine in a orangey yellow, I guess you would call that color. And this is definitely an inner child deck for me, not just because of the illustration style, but because of the themes and the write-ups in this. This is a deck too I was considering rehoming because I just wasn't sure about it. I didn't feel like the guidebook was good enough, but then I just kept using it and yeah, I bonded. So I'm definitely not quick to jump the gun on rehoming decks anymore. I do put them away and then I take them out again and put them away, take them out again. I wait a little while, you know, because some decks I end up warming up to and enjoying. It just wasn't the right time. It's the decks that I'm not sure about. Obviously, like I said, there are some decks that you just straight away just like, no. Those are different. But ones that you're like, I don't know. They're the ones I think need a little bit more space and time. But yeah, this is very pretty and it's cute and it's a bit different. You know, I don't have any other decks that have galactic dolphins in them, my dudes. Just this one. So that is the Whispers of the Soul, and this one is an indie deck. Okay, so here we have the Little Ghosts Oracle. Oh wait, let me do a close-up of the bag and the button. I love this bag and this button. This is one of those cases where I'm like, oh, I just love this bag. This bag is pretty. So this bag suited the old box, not so much the deck. So here is the guidebook cover. It's both in French and English. These are the backs, which I bloody love. The beautiful holographic ghosties, and it's got this star-like, shimmery, stunning edging. And it's also got the shimmery bits too on the front, which is just, it's so lovely. You know, this isn't really my aesthetic, but it makes me happy. This is definitely a feel-good deck for me. It's so bright and colorful. It's got energy of like all of the festive seasons in it. Even though it's ghosts are the main theme, it's not just Halloween for me. And the guidebook is fantastic. It's really interestingly done. It also includes like a location and place and time as part of the readings, which I find absolutely fascinating. But it blew me away with the readings. I wasn't expecting it from such a cute, kitschy deck, but I was like, okay, wow, you have depth as well. And you are, yeah, blowing my mind right now. But this was one as well. I just didn't want to put it away when I had it. And every time I take it out, like right after this reading, I'm just going to pull a card from it. This is one of those decks that I'm happy to just to pull one card and see what it has to say. So yeah, this is adorbs. And this was the Little Ghosts Oracle, which was an indie deck. Okay, so now we have this bag, which is in one of my favorite stitches. So this is Jasmine Puff Stitch, and I use it to make, I'm using it to make a quilt. So I'm doing squares and I'm going to patch them all together. It's so cushy and soft, but it uses up so much yarn and it is not fun to do because you have to have 24 loops on your hook before you pull through, which sucks. So this is the, oh my gosh, what's it called? I'll have to write it up. Cosmic Laws, I think, Oracle. And it's got space. So this bag doesn't go. Obviously, I felt like the button goes more because I just didn't have anything. I didn't have anything. I edged mine in a dark blue. And it is a glossy cardstock, but it is a cardstock that feels like photograph paper. So it feels like glossy photographs. So I'm just putting that out there in case that's not your jam. It's not really mine, to be honest. So I don't love this cardstock, but I do enjoy this deck. So this is an indie deck. You can tell that the guidebook's been translated into English, so it's also in French. It's been translated, so sometimes the translations just don't make a lot of sense. And for me, I actually do not use this deck the way that the author, the creator, has done it and set it up, and I almost never use the guidebook. I read through the guidebook, you know, once and sort of got the gist, especially mostly for the laws. I definitely do not use it for the words. I have this is an intuitive reader for me. So straight away when I see this card and strength, I will get a hit immediately and know what the card is trying to say when I'm doing a reading. It's just, for some reason, it's a big intuitive reader for me. And it happened immediately before I'd even like really played with the deck. But then even after reading the guidebook, I was like, yeah, no, I'm just going to go back to using this intuitively with my own knowledge and applying my own meaning to it. So yeah, this is the Cosmic Laws Oracle, I believe. And for the last bag for this part of the Oracle collection deck, I'll just show you, bring it up close. I should have made this go down further, but you know, you live, you learn. So I did a gold button because of the deck itself. So this is the green Glyphs Oracle. So I picked a green bag, but I wanted a shiny thing. You can almost tell like it's holographic. I don't know if it's going up, but you've got a gold holographic. Then you've got this beautiful, you know, holographic element on the front. I freaking love it. Even though I don't like the color green, really, I just don't. I love, as soon as I saw the little holographic bits, I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm in. I love the size. I love the elements that the creator chose to put on it. It is, once again, a mix of the magic and the mundane. And I just fall for that. Anytime there's a domestic world and then like the supernatural world and they combine, I'm like, yes, please. Thank you. Because that's just my jam for some reason. Put chairs alongside dinosaurs. Like, it works. It's well written. It is sort of kind of meant to be used in a Lenormand style way. So when I do use this deck, I always pull at least 2 cards. I pair them up. And I had a lot of fun. It's beautiful quality. It reads really well. And yeah, like, it is fun. You know, some decks are just a bit exciting to use and make you a bit giddy. You know, you're excited to say, oh, okay, what does this mean? I guess you probably could use this intuitively. I don't know. I always read the guidebook. Maybe one day it will be an intuitive reader, but at the moment I do always reference. But I think it is stunning, and it's definitely not normally something that would be in my wheelhouse, but I fell for it, and I'm glad I pulled the trigger on the Kickstarter. So the creator also had some matching decks, but the other decks didn't have this beautiful gold hollow. And I didn't go for them. Oh, the Anokis and the Morning Glories, just 2 of my favorite cards. So that was a shame, because I think it just adds a little bit of zhuzh, you know. It spices it up. And that's everything for this Oracle collection video. I will see you in the next one. And as always, stay wild, Star Child.